All right, guys, I want to get you rolling with this. So this will be a good one. Some of it's a review. I've talked about this before. It's in my training module. Some of it is, but what we're going to hit on is knowing your hormones. So for males, it kind of gets thrown to the wayside many times. Me, females, it's more top of mind. But I would say there is a huge um, misdiagnosis, um, how you want to frame it. We're just underserved as males, and testosterone got a bad rap. So um, that's unfortunate because there's a lot of guys out here that are having side effects from having low testosterone, and it's one of those things that if we would have had a better system in place, we could address this fairly easy. So I'm going to touch on multiple male hormones, but again, if your system's off, if your testosterone's low, it's going to put stress on the other hormones, vice versa. So I will go through and talk more about optimization framework, performance, longevity, clarity. Um, so let's get rolling. And then the cool part is uh, we're finally going to solidify a partnership with it's going to be a part of our program, but obviously a different price point, having access to um, testing, optimization. So we've been working on this for almost a year now, but we'll talk about that soon. So what do the hormones matter for men? Hormones regulate obviously energy, motivation, focus, recovery. Brain fog, depression, those things can be a sign of low testosterone or hormonal imbalance. The interesting part is a book called The Operator's Syndrome. I listened to a podcast where they interviewed uh, the author of the book, and he actually works with and got frustrated with the VA and developed his own program because he said the veterans are being underserved and misdiagnosed, so they'll give them antidepressants and drug them up from that standpoint instead of fixing the problem. And he said what one of his protocols what was to do is obviously test the testosterone level, and once they got their testosterone level up, those depression-like symptoms went away. But it was an interesting podcast I listened to. But so if you're having some of these side effects and your doctor just does a disservice and doesn't test the level that he should, well, you probably need to find a new doctor. That's not our whole story. Uh, they can, the hormonal imbalance can influence fat loss, muscle gain, mood, libido. All that matters. When you get to a certain point, you want to continue to work and strive for a quality of life. And why should you suffer and not have the things you had when you're younger, when you can have them? So you can train hard and eat clean and still feel off and still, nothing, something was not right. I felt that, and I knew something was not clicking because I was pretty in tune with my body. And so, and then optimization is going to be the reactivation. This is the reactivation medicine is what we live in right now, and is actually keeping everybody sick, which is unfortunate. So symptoms you guys may look for, and if you can check a couple of these, again, you need to have a conversation with your doctor. So low energy, despite effort, stubborn body fat, poor recovery, brain fog, low libido. These are all signals, not flaws. It's signals, guys. You got to listen to the signals. Hormones are going to work as a system. In homeostasis, we want to get the system working together. One imbalance can create problems down the stream. We optimize the system, not only at lab values, but other areas. So we try to address some of the natural components within the program: sleep, stress, workout, nutrition, all those impact as well. So obviously testosterone is going to be your foundational hormone, and it's one that is disregarded. If you're 400, 600, those are all too low. And if your doctor says, that's fine, that's normal, it's not. So you have to have a better conversation and use some of the resources I give you. So muscle mass, strength, fat loss, and metabolic health all are impacted by low testosterone. Confidence, assertiveness, and drive, libido, sex performance, bone density, cognitive sharpness, brain fog, all that's going to be impacted by testosterone. Markers. So if you do have the conversation with your doctor, you need total testosterone, free testosterone, bioavailable testosterone. SHBG controls how much is usable. Normal does not mean optimal. Okay, so you gotta go through not just total testosterone, free testosterone. There's more test. Another one that is tested more often, but we just we kind of disregard it. We don't come back and retest it and try to maybe change some of the components that impact it. But cortisol, so necessary for survival. So it does its part. Chronically elevated cortisol is destructive. It'll start tearing down other systems. Suppresses testosterone, impairs sleep and recovery, promotes fat storage. Bam, bam, bam. If you're walking a stress ball, cortisol levels high. You got to figure out how to address that. And typically, you can't address that with suppressing. So common cortisol drivers: undereating, overtraining, poor sleep, excessive caffeine, psychological stress. You cold plunge, sauna, breathing. If you can't afford the cold plunge, sauna, breathing. It'll help fix a lot of things. So the insulin, many times they don't test insulin properly as well. You have to they'll get some baselines and A1C and but they don't go deep enough into insulin. And if you identify some insulin issues, again, energy, fat storage, it's going to regulate your blood sugar, controls fat storage versus fat loss, and it can slow the process down. Affects inflammation, impacts testosterone and estrogen. So if you have some insulin issues, it can impact your testosterone, but also push your estrogen up, that's going to create more problems as well. So here's a couple signs of, and again, you got to get your fasting insulin tested. Energy crashes, cravings, again, brain fog, difficulty losing fat, inflammation, all those are going to be signs of poor insulin. Okay. Uh, Estradiol. So we're exposed to way too much estrogen in our environments now. Uh, I haven't talked about this, but I did this a long time ago. And I think it's in my training videos is water filters. We got to filter our water, guys, to a higher degree than you think because we're consuming a lot of disruptors that can push up our estradiol, estrogen response and pull down our testosterone. So, I think I have a couple filters. I have a whole house filter. Um, and it's crazy. I should show you, after a month of pulling that thing and you're like, wow, I was drinking that. And then I have, and you can do this as well. Most new fridges, water dispenser has a carbon filter as well. And then you can get a carbon filter pitcher as well. So you can trip what, uh, I have a whole filtration system in the house, which I can put, and then coming out of my fridge. And then if I put the water coming out of my spout upstairs into another carbon filter, it helps clean the process. But if you want access, or you can go into your training modules, and I think I do recommendations. I'm thinking this in there. If it's not in there, I have some resources to push you through to look at water filtration systems that are more affordable, easier way to do it. So we need estrogen, but because it helps support joints, libido, cardiovascular, kind of balances out the system. And, problems arise when levels are too high, and then we can start seeing some other side effects. Um, if you've seen guys who've abused steroids, what they do is they push an extremely high amount of testosterone, and the body it causes imbalance in the body in the system where your estrogen may skyrocket. And these guys, what they do is they push this testosterone really high, and it messes up your estrogen response, and then they start having like man boobs. It's because they've abused the amount of natural testosterone in the system, so it throws everything off. Again, stubborn belly fat, low motivation, mood swings, low libido, despite normal testosterone. And the other side effect is you can start having more adipose tissue, even though you're leaner, you can still have more adipose tissue around the breast. Thyroid is another one. It's misdiagnosed, mismanaged as well a lot because we don't do deep enough testing. So thyroid hormone is a metabolic controller, and I had issues with mine. Controls the metabolic rate, regulates body temperature, influences energy and fat burning. Low function mimics low testosterone. As I had a combination, I had low function thyroid and low testosterone and low growth hormone. So they were just all compounding. These are the ones that you want to track, and most of them they don't track this deep. So TSH, free T4, and free T3. Conversion matters as much as production, and that's what was happening with me because I was Hashimoto's is where your thyroid's producing, but the antibodies are attacking it. So it's attacking itself. So it's not converting and utilizing properly. Short version. DHEA, resilience hormone, and you can take a supplement that, and I do, to help with my testosterone component. Supports stress tolerance, supports immune function, precursor to testosterone, declines with age and chronic stress. So chain reaction. High cortisol suppresses testosterone, poor sleep worsens insulin resistance, low thyroid lowers testosterone signaling. Everything's connected. So if the system's broke, and you compound it year after year and continue to put body fat rise and rise and rise, you're just doing more damage to the system. And because if we carry more adipose tissue, it throws the whole hormonal balance off as well. So you guys probably know some of these: chronic calorie restrictions, excess endurance cardio, poor sleep, alcohol, overuse, ultra processed foods, training without recovery, all gonna wreck the hormones. These are the ones that optimize strength training 3 to 4 days per week, adequate protein and calories, consistent sleep schedule, daily movement and sunlight, stress management, micronutrient sufficiency. So, vitamin D deficiency can impact. What zinc is the other one. It can impact testosterone. Both of those can impact testosterone as well. So total and free testosterone, SHBG, estradiol, fasting insulin, and A1C, both of them. Okay. Cortisol AM, your TSH, free, T3, free, T4. So those are the ones that you want to go after. And vitamin D. Most people, most doctors, oh, look, I test vitamin D, but you don't test anything else properly. So you fix one thing and neglect everything else. Uh, so low energy is not laziness. Stubborn fat is not always willpower issue. Hormonal signals require strategy. Awareness creates ownership. You guys know that, and that's where you're in the program. So takeaways: know the key numbers. I have a whole document on that I could share with you if I haven't given it to you guys, and it breaks down the numbers where your ranges should be for healthy. Um, and then understanding the signals, what listening to your body, train and eat with alignment, your male biology to keep these hormones in in a good happy place for longevity. This is how we can stay strong and focused for decades, right? So, and the final note, I think we're probably solidifying a partnership this week with a telehealth organization. And Aaron and I, again, just like we do anything, we're going to go through some of the process and test it first before we roll it out to clients. We just have to make sure we understand the process a little bit better, communication with the doctors, the access to the peptides, what that looks like from a financial structure as well. So we got to put some stuff together. But hopefully here in the next 3 weeks to a month, we will roll a new option out for our clients to utilize. And it's a game changer. I just went through the optimization we tried to do a partnership with the company I used, and it's just outside the price point of most what people are willing to pay, which is fine. I've called, interviewed, talked to. Aaron's done the same with I think 5 or 6 different companies. Not all of them created equal, and we're trying to get a good product that's legit 503A, 503B from pharmacies. All the products are clean because there's too much stuff running around here that is white labeled and you don't know exactly what you're getting. It's a little scary. So we had to really filter through that and understand a lot of those components before we brought this company in, and it's taken us a while. So look forward to that, and hit me up if you guys need anything. Book a coaching call if you need one. And hey, take care of your hormones, guys. If you need to have more conversation with a doctor or need to find a better doctor, let me know. Talk to you soon.